One way or another. Hey, we're live on the air. Welcome, people of the internet.
Trev, it's 96 this week.
It is 96. I have it written down, even though I had it written down last week.
That's my favorite thing last time. Oh, God, that was great.
Okay, recording local audio. So that means we're going to do this in 3, 2, 1. Good evening, geeks, and welcome to episode 96 of Growing Up Geek. I'm Trevor Schaefer, and joining me this week, Jerry Mullen.
I'm the man formerly known as Jerry Mullen.
Yes. What are you going by now?
Gerald.
Gerald.
That's all I got. I don't really have anything.
You're like Prince.
I go by 98% of my day. I go by Hey Daddy.
Hey Daddy. Formerly known as Hey Shithead.
Yeah, that's their mother. Well, that's what I'm called. Hey Shithead by their mother. I don't mean. Yeah, never mind. You know what? I have to get off the show now. I feel myself getting in trouble already.
You know it.
Thankfully, she listens to 0% of these episodes.
Same thing with my wife. So
yeah. She doesn't consider this childish. She considers this an easy out to go to bed early. Okay, so I'll start the show. Let's start the show with a solemn note.
Okay.
Legendary actor and the man who played Mario has passed on to that big mushroom kingdom in the sky. Bob Hoskins passed away this week, and it's very sad because he's in one of my favorite movies of all time, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and that sucks.
Is this too soon?
Wow.
Too soon?
No. No. I have no soul. No. I mean, really? All ironic jokes? That's probably about the best sound effect you got. Yeah, but, yeah, it is kind of sad. He was a really great actor. He did some other stuff, too. If you was it Unbreakable or Unchained?
Unchained with Jet Li.
Unchained with Jet Li. He was a scumbag in that movie.
Yeah.
Still a good movie. But still, he will always be Mario, and Eddie Valiant.
I'll say he'll always be Eddie Valiant to me.
He'll always be Eddie Valiant to me, and the world will never have another guy like that. And I don't care how many supposed sequels and how many times they were going to try to do that movie again, it will never be the same. So long, Eddie.
Like Roger Rabbit sounds.
Yeah. Sorry. That's why I did it. So, all right, we'll move on to something.
Let's move on.
Let's spin up to something, at least something.
Let's move on to probably a semi-boring story for some people, but it's an interesting one if you've been following it for years. Is right now there is a final decision. I say final, that they can still appeal it. But the lawsuits over Apple and Samsung suing each other for patent violations has come to a temporary end until they refile or appeal or whatever. And
they surely aren't going to pay.
Well, they're not getting as much as they wanted, though. The original lawsuit that Apple filed against Samsung, they were looking for $6.2 billion. 2.1. Looking at the wrong number. They were looking for $2.1 billion in damages. They were targeting over 10 Samsung devices that they said violated their patent. Instead of getting the $2.1 billion, they are only getting only $119 million, which really is
a far cry from.
Yep. And then Samsung sued about patent violations in their iPhones and iPads. They wanted $6.2 million, and they only got $158,000.
Boy, thank God for this judge. Thank God frivolous lawsuits aren't what they used to be.
No.
If you realize now, if Apple had lost that for the millions of dollars, and think about it now, Samsung probably will too. That's just going to go down to the consumer level in the long run. The Galaxy 6 will be an extra $50.
If that, they'll probably just write that off. It's not a huge loss for either company. The only
No.
problem is now because it was handed down, and if Samsung stays by it and accepts it, they'll just have to keep paying Apple for any new devices that infringe upon the patent for a patent lease, if Apple actually allows for the patent lease. So,
Mm.
but
You imagine if they don't? Samsung gonna have to change a lot.
yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things they stole blatantly was the swipe to unlock. They pretty much said, we don't care who invented it, we're using it, and well,
Hmm.
Apple said, too bad, and they actually
Oh
won.
yeah, cha-ching.
We got more money than you have. We got more money than you have.
Mm. Our daddy's bigger. That's basically what they should have said. You know,
My dad's gonna kick your dad's ass.
so
Whoa, as the pen flies out of my hand.
that happens.
So it's not really a hotbed story, but it's
I
something
think
that
we've actually covered when this originally happened in a previous episode.
I'm sure we did. It was probably probably 30 episodes ago.
Yeah.
It's been going on for years. Does it say how many years exactly? I don't see anything off the top. Let's see here.
Something from 2012.
Yeah, that was another trial in 2012. Now I don't see exactly when it was exactly initially filed, but
No. The actual Apple's patent claim thing.
yeah,
There's a PDF file attached.
I'm not reading the PDF. Screw it.
I'm just looking for a date on it. Which, none of these are dated. Oh, here it is. 5/2. No, that's when it was filed. That's today. Never mind. Whoops. Got a little quick there.
So let's move on.
Yeah, I'm really sad that it doesn't have a date. That's going to bother me now. Fuckers.
This is a story I found interesting because it was something that I think a lot of people saw coming, but it's not happening the way they thought it would. That Google Plus is changing. Google is actually going to start looking at Google Plus as a platform rather than a product because the head of Google Plus stepped down.
Well, besides this.
Yeah, well, that's part of the whole thing. Then.
Yeah. Which is the only cool feature this system has.
Yeah, because Vic I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Guntorta, or Guntortra. He was the leader of the Google Plus team, and he's leaving Google. So right now, Google had between 1,000 to 1,200 employees working on Google Plus. In contrast, Facebook has about 6,818, which shows you again how much Google put into Google Plus compared to Facebook, even though they wanted to be a competing social platform. But here is supposedly what the shakeup will be doing. The Google Hangouts team, which is what we're doing right now, will likely be moving to the Android team. The photo team will be likely moving to the Android team, and the rest of the employees are likely to take on mobile projects, such as working on widgets that would employ Google Plus as a platform rather than a product. But all this is speculation right now. But I could care less about Google Plus. I will freely admit that I never use it. I post to it maybe once every 3 months, going, "Hey, I wonder why you don't use Google Plus more often," and that's it.
Yeah, you know what? I do the same thing. About once every 3 months, I go, "Oh yeah, I could put that to Google." Oh yeah, and you notice it's an option to post, and you're like, "Oh."
The one thing that kept me from posting with it is a lot of times if I post, especially from the iPhone app, it comes up as private, not public, and there's no way to change. Once you set that post out, there's no way to change it from private to public. So the only people that are seeing that are the people on my friends list, not public. So if I want to try to get a following, I literally have to do it from the web app. I can't do it from the mobile app, which to me is completely useless.
Stupid.
Very, very stupid.
You're so stupid.
I was just talking to my wife about that movie.
Actually, me and Kelly were talking about it yesterday. That
I told
movie's
her
great.
I don't watch UHF.
Yeah. Kelly's seen it before. I've watched it a handful of times since we've been married.
So, as interesting as that story is, this is actually going to bookend on, I think, another very interesting story that this came out right after it. Is because this came out on the 25th of April. This came out 3 days later on the 28th. That Skype is taking their premium service, which allows group video calling. They're taking away the $8.99 monthly subscription plan and making it free.
This is a burn on Google.
Yeah,
It totally is.
Because if they take away the Hangout, this is free right now to do a group video chat like this. Skype's like, you know what? If that's going away, we're going to do it for free to get you over here.
Sure, but it has to work in a broadcast capacity. We had kind of a conversation about this before the show. Google Plus is nice and convenient. You know, if I'm talking right now, you're probably seeing me, and when Trevor talks, this is where
You're seeing me right now.
see, that's the convenience of it. When we have more than just us, which pretty much is never. That's a dig on all you bastards that never joined the show. I can't say anything about Tom. Tom was on for a while at least.
Yeah.
And some people got a job and a life and kids.
Life is over.
Losers!
I do have to defend Skype just a little bit because we have not tried the video chat in a few years. I think it's been about 2 years because we tried that right before we came across Google Hangouts, I believe.
Yeah, actually we did.
And I mean, in 2 years it could have changed. So one of these days we'll have to sit down and actually do a video call.
So you're saying right after this?
I don't even know if I have Skype still installed.
I still have Skype installed because I use it to check my camera every time right before the show.
Yeah, I still have Skype installed. I'm probably going to have to do a huge update to it, but
in fact, you know what? I had to last time, so
probably running like version.
It's the only thing I use it for. Because now that my brother has an iDevice, he FaceTimes me, so I never have to. You know, I only ever fire up Skype to check my camera. That's it. So.
But I just, it's like a 1-2 punch. I mean, Google says, hey, we're going to step away from Google Plus, and Skype steps up to the plate and says, hey, we're giving you free group calling.
Well, okay, you know what? We would probably, I don't know if it'd be more beneficial to use Skype or not.
I don't know. See, that's the thing. We did this platform because we didn't want to pay $8.99 a month for a group chat that may or may not have worked, because I know when we did the one-on-one chat, it really wasn't working out too well. That, like you said, the screen never flipped. So broadcast-wise, it'd be kind of one-sided. It'd be very vain for me because I'd be recording it on my end, so you'd see me, and you guys would just be like you are right now, just little teeny tiny people squares.
People squares.
Yes.
In fact, I'm switching it to just me.
There's a way to do that. If you click on the picture.
Yeah, if you click on yourself, you can just watch yourself. That's the ultimate vanity right there.
Exactly. I actually did that on one show accidentally, and because it records on my end, the entire show is recorded like that. And I kind of felt bad.
I remember that one, but it would show us. It still shows us at the bottom. But
yeah,
the little people. As I'll call it.
But
we have to see if Skype does that. Plus, you have to think too that Google does offer you, as the guy who puts all this bullshit together, it offers that great compression.
Sometimes.
Well, yeah. I
mean, 2 episodes ago, it actually worked out. It went back to the old compression, I think, for the 94, 93, I believe. 95 went the same way as the early 90s did, like late 80s, early 90s. That it was not compressing. Well, It was compressing it, but it wasn't compressing it the right way. The shows were coming out at about a gigabyte a piece rather than the 200 to 300 meg range. But even when I downloaded them before to upload them, I actually compressed them again, and I was only shaving off like 50 megabytes. So I was not shaving anything off. So I don't know exactly what the problem is with the compression.
Well, I'm just saying though, would we have a bigger problem if you were recording it locally?
No, I don't think so, because the way I use compressions, like when I do my vlogs, a lot of times my vlogs will come in at 900 megs, even sometimes a gigabyte. The way I compress them, I get them down to under 200 megabytes and then upload them.
Yeah, but how long are those videos?
Well, it's different though. They're only typically about 5 to 6 minutes long, but they're shot in 1080p full frame. So
Okay.
I'm keeping them in HD. I'm keeping them in 1080p and going full force with it. This I don't even know. This is HD, so it does 480p or 720p. I don't know. Does this do 720 or 480? I honestly don't remember. But it's not as high as a quality as I do for my vlogs.
Okay, well, whatever the case is, I don't know if it would be beneficial for us not to be using this.
I don't know. That's
Fred Flintstone, look. Anyway.
But that's something maybe after the show we'll fire up Skype and check it out.
I know it.
I have the software. I bought that call recorder when we first started doing the podcast back in 2008, and it does record video, so I can record video locally.
Hey, we'll see if it works out.
So, and I have editors here that I can. That's one thing I always wanted to add is right up here in the top corner. I always wanted to add the Growing Up Geek logo, like a watermark. Mm-hmm. And man, whenever I took it into iMovie to edit it, man, that sucker exploded in size, and I could never get it back down. So.
Well, exploded.
Exploded, man!
Boom.
So here's a bomb and it explodes.
It explodes.
So you gotta say explode.
So we have like 3 Hollywood-ish, video game-ish, related story-ish.
Ish.
What
are you talking about?
Well, we can still let's talk about Matt Smith first.
Oh, do we have?
Let's go to that. Well, we do, because he's a doctor I like, unlike you.
Let me preface this. That picture on the article, that's the Matt Smith I hate, where he's just got the long, unscraggly hair and he acts like really dumb. The haircut he started.
We all know, you can lie all you want, but we all know you hated Matt Smith throughout the run.
No. The last 2 seasons, I didn't mind him. It was the first season that was just, I just could not stand.
I liked him throughout, although I like all the doctors. I don't really have a specific one that I like the most, but I may not like Peter Capaldi, but
I don't know.
We'll have to see how it goes. You ain't gonna like him. He's not David Tennant. We all know that.
No. Well, David Tennant will always be my favorite doctor, but the thing that they are doing with Capaldi, they say he's going to be more like Eccleston. He's going to be very unpredictable, which I think is very good because.
Just say it.
The Matt Smith Doctor was a product of very bad writing.
I think sometimes he was.
Yeah.
Sometimes he wasn't. I think there were a lot of good episodes in the Matt Smith run, and they were equally shitty ones. And that's the true same thing for David Tennant and even Christopher Eccleston. There were for 2 good episodes, you got 9 crappy ones. It's like any show. So.
Okay, go on with the story.
All right, so we're not gonna. I can't really read the first sentence because it relates to another story. The new Terminator reboot is adding Matt Smith to its cast, unless they need a flamboyantly crazy character, apparently. Of course, we know who Matt Smith is. Blah 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 blah. He's going to be a character with a strong connection to John Connor, and he will feature in all 3 films of a new Terminator trilogy. First off, is that what we're calling it, the Terminator trilogy? There was like fucking 4 movies before this.
I can't stand it anymore when they come out with one movie and they say part one of a trilogy. How do you know this movie's going to be any good? It could tank at the box office, and you're going to make two more films based on a shit pile?
No. That's the easy out in Hollywood.
Ah,
It's part of it. Matrix started that. I full-fledged believe that, personally. The Matrix started what is known as the trilogy ridiculousness.
well, wait. Let's go back. Technically speaking, they weren't pre-planned trilogy, but the Star Wars trilogy. You got to give it a little credit where credit's due.
Okay. But by the time we were really into the Star Wars trilogy, we were grown up and they had been around a while, and we knew it as the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah. Kids growing up,
Okay.
no. I mean, we're old men. Kids growing up today know it as, like Tom's age, they know it as the Matrix trilogy.
Yeah.
In
Matrix
1990,
trilogy.
they were like 7 or 8 years old. They didn't know any better.
We knew it as the whoa film.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know?
The holy shit, how did they do that bullet effect?
Yeah. You know, that movie still looks great
It
today.
does.
And as old as it is now. So,
Yep.
you know what movie still looks good all these years later? Is Terminator 2.
Yes.
Terminator 2 still looks great.
Probably the best film example I could use that still holds up today is Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah, Jurassic Park.
Those dinosaurs.
Will stand the test of time.
Yes.
Until we're actually cloning dinosaurs someday. Jurassic Park is where it's at. But
I just can't believe they're all automatically calling it a trilogy.
I think that's the new Hollywood scapegoat, though, because if the first one makes any money, now we've already called it a trilogy, and
you have to make it.
we're good to go. You know?
Like, what if they came out with the Lone? They announced, well, here's the first part of the Lone Ranger trilogy.
Okay. Let's have a moment and talk about the Lone Ranger. Okay?
Okay.
Lone Ranger in itself was a good idea. And that's where it should have stopped. Okay? It's not very often that I will say something bad about a film. My brother said it's one of my character flaws. I like everything. And that's true. I do like a lot of stuff because I can see the good in a bad thing. I have you as a friend. I mean, really.
Hey.
Hey, Trev, come on. Well, never mind. We'll have this discussion after the show.
Some years, it's yeah.
Yeah, we've kind of warped each other a little bit over there. But you can find the good and bad. We all know the films that were shitty. We all could perfectly agree that the Phantom Menace was terrible until Qui-Gon Jinn and what's his face fight Darth Maul. That's about the only portion of that film that's good.
And this is going to catch me a lot of shit. The Phantom Menace in itself, on paper, was not a bad film. It's how it was shot, how it was cast, that made it an absolutely horrible, horrible Star Wars film.
I'm sorry, but at what point did you think the casting was bad?
Jar Jar Binks.
Okay, no. That's not casting. That's poor writing.
No, because writing, you might not be able to hear the inflection. When you have Newt Gunnar talking just as a complete stereotype, or Newt Gunray, sorry, when you have Jar Jar Binks and the rest of the Gungans talking in a very racially insensitive way.
Do you think they wrote it that way? Are you another one of the bleak-minded that think that?
I don't know.
I think he just tried to make a stupid language.
I'm trying to be the optimist here for once. I'm always the negative Debbie Downer.
It's Doobie Downer, first of all. But you know what? People always somehow why do people do that? They link it to religion or stereotypes or anything like that. Like people want to find the religious connections in the Matrix. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Did you see him? He dodged bullets and all this other. Who cares? Why can't you? People can't take. I'm not saying you personally, but
yeah, no.
At least for this conversation, I'm not. But people can't just take a film at its face value. That it was made to entertain you for 2 hours. It must have some Jesus reference or that's crazy.
But I'm playing right to your point. It's supposed to entertain. And because of those things and some other things like, the pod race didn't have to last for 15 minutes. Those choices, the way it was filmed was not entertaining to me. It was pulling me out of the fantasy experience. So I wasn't thinking, oh,
So
I'm in the great world right now. This is fantastic. I'm pulling on going, what the hell were they thinking when they filmed this?
see, I think that sometimes films just have shit in it because it wants to make money. I mean, obviously that's what a film is designed to do. And like, all right, the pod racer, yeah, all right, maybe the scene did go a little long. There were a lot of stuff in the other Star Wars films too that weren't awesome.
Oh, I'm not disputing that either.
You know, and we could argue about Indiana Jones like we do every episode, but we're not gonna this week, folks.
I mean, I'll tell you what, in New Hope, the Battle of Yavin goes on a little too long for my liking.
I think there's a lot of stuff. I think there was a lot of things in the original Star Wars trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, the good Star Wars trilogy, that were just unnecessary. I'm not going to go into them all because that's like a whole other show.
And now I will completely blame bad writing for the next two films. Episode 2 and 3, they were just the dialogue between Padme and Anakin was just horrible.
You know what? I'm going to send you a link to one of Jerry's 6,000 YouTube subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a video called, oh, you know what? I have to look it up. And I have to send it to you. You don't have to watch it now, but I want to make sure I remember to do it.
There's two things. There's bad writing, there's bad casting, and then there's bad filming.
There is bad filming, and here it is.
Like when we get back to the Lone Ranger, you took a Native American part who is completely stereotyped and gave it to a white Johnny Depp to play.
Okay, there's two things about the Lone Ranger that there's a lot of things about the Lone Ranger that were wrong. Okay, there's some things I really did like about it. It did have a we were trying to be like Pirates of the Caribbean on land feeling. I think it did. Now, whether you believe that or not, it's up to you. That's you people too. Okay, that's up to interpretation. For a 2-hour film based on a handful of black and white TV shows, you don't got a lot to work with. For Wild Wild West, it didn't work.
No.
But for the Lone Ranger in itself wasn't a terrible film. It was more of a product of bad writing. Take that as you will.
The best thing to come out of that film was the Disney Infinity character pieces.
I have a video called, and I'm going to email you this. I'm going to hope, oh God, it doesn't play. Of course it does. Shut your mouth. Oh, it's an ad. I have to wait 5 seconds. Hold on. Who is this? I really want to go to this page, though, about this lady who bakes for video games or something. I really want to nail her. She combines her favorite things, video games and baking. So you get, like, Minecraft Rice Krispie Treats and...
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so I'll send you this link. And this is called 11 Things Actually Good with the Star Wars prequels.
By the way, you just made me hungry for Rice Krispies treats, yeah.
Oh, who wouldn't be? I have another one to send you too, but
for this.
I had the Bob Hoskins thing, or the Roger Rabbit thing to send you, but I'll do that later. But
well, let's get back to this original story.
What were we actually on?
Talking about, well, we can keep going on this. Well, we were talking about the Matt Smith in Terminator and why it was new, when we got right on to why does everything have to be a trilogy.
Yeah, okay. And then, well, now that we've already mentioned Star Wars.
Well, here's the one thing I find interesting, and from what I've read, they're going to explain it, is Arnold Schwarzenegger is coming back as the T-800, and they said there's going to be a good explanation on why the T-800 has aged the way Schwarzenegger has. So I'm going to be interested to see, how they pull that off.
I think, and they can explain anything in film. You could just go and lie to the people. You know, like remember when they were writing? I remember watching this documentary on on how they wrote Star Trek: The Next Generation, and they'd be writing like dialogue, and instead of when Geordi would have to say something or Data would have to say something, yeah, they'd have to put technobabble in there, yeah. And that's exactly how they're going to explain this technobabble. That's the perfect word.
Well,
I can't wait to hear what you say.
I hope they're not going to do the same thing they did with the Day of the Doctor. What they did in Day of the Doctor is you already had the Doctor set up Eccleston 9, Tennant 10, Smith 11. Well, then they throw the War Doctor in there. Well, no, he was really 9. And then that leads into the last episode of Matt Smith. I forget what it was called. Hour of the Doctor?
It's the Death of the Doctor. We'll just go with that. I don't remember what the fuck it's called.
So they go the whole thing. Okay, now Matt Smith is not 11, he's 12. Well, David Tennant technically regenerated twice, so now he's 13, and now because the Doctor many, many years ago was written that he can only regenerate 13 times, he can't regenerate, so he's growing old. I'm okay with the whole 13 regeneration things, but now we've completely redone the order. So now...
Because of your total fear of change.
No. They've already established this. It's like saying... you can't change.
You can with the simple keystroke of the writer. He's changed it, and he easily did it. And all the episodes from now on are completely acceptable of that fact. Because you can't call David Tennant the 10th Doctor all of a sudden, or Christopher Eccleston the 9th Doctor. I like the 9th Doctor, but he's just Christopher Eccleston. I don't have to call him the 9th. And tell me what, I want a War Doctor action figure. I'm not kidding you. That would be awesome. But actually, what I would really like is that TARDIS he had that showed war damage.
Yeah.
It like beat up on the outside and seen some real beatings. You know, that I love that.
I love Day of the Doctor, but when you take canon and you just take it and you just crush it under your fingers and make to whatever
all right, here.
Time.
I will try to help this situation to those that don't understand. Maybe you do. I don't know. But when was the Time War ever canon? They never really totally explained what happened.
I'm not saying canon. I'm saying they're injecting a Doctor where there never was a Doctor.
But you didn't know there wasn't. Argument over. Thank you! I solved it with one word!
You fucker.
I did! You didn't know there wasn't one there. It's over. Who gives a shit?
Oh, yeah. I guess you got me on that one.
I think I'm not going to disagree with where you're going, though. I know where you're going. I'm just kind of dicking with you, too. You knew who all your doctors were.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily, but as human beings, we like a number. What did George Carlin say? It was a psychologically satisfying number about the 10 Commandments.
Give it a chronology, just numbers 1 through.
Yeah. We always take things for granted that they go in order like that, and as a Time Lord would say, it's kind of, I'm not going to say wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, but I really had to.
And, categorize everything in a certain order.
Yeah. We expect things to go in a certain way. Well, that's what's great about the Doctor Who universe. It doesn't have to exactly be the way it should be. You never knew there wasn't a Doctor in between. You just assumed it went from the guy who did the TV show, Paul McGann in the 90s, and it went right to Eccleston, and we don't know how he died.
Yeah.
Okay. We're okay with this.
Okay, I'll give you that because, yeah, okay.
Did you ever see that movie he was in?
No, actually, I haven't.
Thank God.
That bad?
Well, I tried watching a lot of the old shit. All the shit's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And the black and white ones I watched with my dad on PBS on the weekends when we were kids. And not that I remember a lot about them, but I do remember watching them. And then I found that online somewhere. That what reboot movie in the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
And I watched about 30 minutes of it.
Yeah, it was
And I had to stop watching.
You know what? I'm going to give you this argument just because I thought of another thing that completely invalidates my argument as well. So I'm handing you the argument, sir. You are the winner.
Trevor, there's no fun in defeating a friend.
No, but in this case, you are because
Unless it's Street Fighter, and then there's
as I'm
like a lot of
listening
fun.
to you, I thought of something exactly right along these lines that I take as canon because it was off-screen said and categorized.
You have to tell me what that is later. I can't wait to hear what
I
that
can
is.
tell you right now, it's the original series of Star Trek. Captain Kirk was not the original captain of the Enterprise. He was actually the third captain of the Enterprise.
Well, in the show, as we as viewers, we assume that he is. Is this where you're going? Am I wrong here?
Well, in the series, you have the original pilot, but then that was turned into the two-part The Menagerie, where you find out Kirk wasn't the first captain of the ship; it was Christopher Pike.
Mm-hmm.
But if you read the original screenplay, I believe it's for the very first pilot. I know it's in the books. But the actual first captain of the Enterprise was a captain named Bob April, was the original captain. Then it was Pike. Then it was Kirk. So again, Kirk is number one.
There's a more you know joke here.
Exactly.
Because I didn't know that.
So when you think, okay, Kirk's the Enterprise, okay, he's the first captain. Then you find out Menagerie, no, it's not. Christopher Pike was the first captain. Then you find out later on, no, Pike wasn't the first. It was Bob April. So again, you're like you said, they insert it, and it should be okay because you didn't know it was there.
Exactly.
I give you that. That is your perfect argument right there. That is you.
You know. All right, let's move on. I'm looking up Bob April, though. I'm totally looking up Bob April right now.
Captain Bob April, the USS Enterprise.
Show more results. Oh, no, it's not on there. Okay.
Not on there?
No. Go ahead anyway. So where are we now?
I'm still talking about the Terminator trilogy.
We never really got to it.
I haven't read much up on it. I know it initially takes place in the future during the Resistance War. I don't know how much of a... do you know if there are going to be any flashbacks or anything?
No, I know very little about it. Just that it is going to take place during the real war.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of what we want to see. We saw a little bit of it in whatever that shitty Christian Bale one was. Retaliation, Retribution, Regeneration.
I don't know.
Revenge,
I never saw it.
Resurrection. I own it, but
you own it.
I cannot. Terminator Salvation. Well, I was way off. It's really kind of upsetting that I was that far off. Terminator Salvation, which started to get into, and I'm really there's no spoilers left, and I don't care if you haven't seen it. It started to get into the Terminators trying to. Well, they thought they had this ultimate weapon to stop the Terminators, and that was bullshit anyway. But they also used the Terminators are starting to figure out who Kyle Reese is.
Ah.
So the long-term problem for them.
Yeah, it's bad if they figure out who the hell he is.
Well, here's the deal. You know what? Is John Connor the only man left? I mean, really.
Is he Neo of the Terminator universe?
Well, basically, yeah. Is he the Neo of the Terminator universe? Is he the only one left that knows how to fight war? I mean, I don't know. And in Salvation, he's not the leader of the human resistance.
No.
He's just a grunt.
So
basically, by the end of it, he's an upper-level grunt. But, I'm not wrong there.
I mean, you go by the first movie, and the second movie, he's the leader of the resistance. He's the
god of human beings, is what he is.
He's the George Washington going against the Redcoats.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's what he is. That's a great reference. I really thought you were going to Teddy Roosevelt me there, but
no.
Oh well.
That's someone else we know.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it. And Terminator 3. I don't know what they were going after there. I mean, they had to show eventually in the Terminator franchise. They had to show the end of the world.
Honestly, I've only seen parts of 3. I've never seen the whole.
Well, it's like not good. Let's start there. It's not bad. Christina Loken is a dynamite looking woman. Don't get me wrong, and she really did play a Terminator robot very well. But basically, it's the same story. The Resistance sends back Super Robot A to kill John Connor. In this one, actually, her mission was not to kill John Connor. It was to kill his lieutenants in general, and everybody else that was underneath him. So he didn't really have an army to fight.
Gave up on killing the leader. Let's get everyone below him. So
basically, he has nobody. He won't find other people that may help him out.
It'll be him and a dog.
And they're killing them as children. These people are like having teen parties at their house, like brothers and sisters and shit. And this Terminator's walking in and blowing it away, which is funny and it's kind of scary and it's all right. But the way they did it was great.
I mean, I'm picturing a whole side story. Like, why did you kill him? Because he's going to survive the nuclear holocaust and rise against the machines.
Yeah,
dude,
that was
14.
He's like 9, But inadvertently, she stumbles upon the real John Connor who's living off the grid, which I don't really know how you could do that in any day and age now. Well, you know what? I can't go to the bathroom without using internet. And that's what the whole movie is. And of course, they send back, I guess, the greatest warrior in the known universe, the T-800, and
the workhorse of the fleet. Yeah.
And then it's them two fighting, and then basically the end of the world. But you know what they do go into that, which is I think was really neat, is how the T-800s or the Terminator robots that aren't liquid metal, I guess. I don't really know how that works. How they're powered. You know what? They were just powered. In the films they were just.
Yeah, I'm thinking like.
In that one, they have 2 hydrogen fuel cells that's in there where their sternum would kind of be.
That's interesting.
Kind of like Iron Man.
Yeah. Except minus the human.
Minus the human part. And actually, when he's fighting the TX, which is like the bad girl robot.
Ooh, that sounds sad.
Right out of Futurama. And he pulls one of the damaged cells out and throws it out the window because of this big explosion, which is actually foreshadowing for way later in the movie. But the Terminator franchise was pretty good. 1 and 2, 3 is okay, but then at the beginning of 3 it goes downhill.
So in other words, it's like one of those other films that only the first 2 exist, the other ones don't exist.
Yeah, I guess
movies. The Alien movies. The first 2 exist, the other ones not so much.
Terminator does hold the prestigious honor, though, of being one of the few franchises where the sequel is better than the original.
The sequel was more popular. I don't know if I'd say if it was better.
I think Terminator 2 is better than Terminator 1.
I don't know about that one.
I think in terms of, you know what I mean. Let's say this. No, I stand by that. Terminator 2 is definitely better than Terminator 1.
So I like the whole Terminator 1, the whole Kyle Reese aspect of it, and it was just down and dirty. And
basically, the movie is he sent his father back to shag his mom.
But I mean, Sarah Connor wasn't this big military bitch. She was just an ordinary human who had no clue what was happening, and I kind of like that aspect. Where Terminator 2, they knew exactly what was happening. They knew what was coming for them. Kind of took a little bit of the drama out of it to me. In the first 15 minutes, you see the end of the film, basically. Okay, this guy is fighting this guy. One of them is going to die at the end, and it's just a ride to see which one's killed.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
I
just want to know what in the original Terminator, what was Kyle Reese's escape plan once he saved her?
There was no escape plan. It was
Well,
a
I
one.
understand that, but that's the mission. So John Connor hand selects Kyle Reese
To
for
be his,
whatever reason. Did he know he was his dad?
no, probably not.
He might not have known who his dad was at that point. His mother may have never told him. So he hand selects this bozo to go back and protect his mother. And, so it's basically I see him as he was an expendable. I'm not wrong.
Or he was trusted enough that he can complete the
To
mission.
die.
Oh, wait. Let's back it up here. He didn't know he was going to die. He could have killed the T-800
And
and
lived a... So basically, we've given him the Weeping Angel's death.
that's a
Yes!
that's a stretch, but
You see, well, you get the correlation there at least.
I get the correlation.
We've sent him back in time to save lives and die. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's a story. You have to just deal with it.
It's not Time Cop.
Oh, no. Wow.
This is a one-way trip, baby.
Yeah. It's not like you're going to get back on the rocket sled and come home. Or no, he had the thing. Well, that's really how they travel through time. But he had the thing on his arm that brought him back. Wow. That's the key to time travel, folks. Just go faster.
Speaking of sleds, I'm totally off topic. The other night I watched The Running Man for the first time in probably about 15 years.
God, that's such a good movie.
It is. And it kind of still holds up. And I got to admit, it was good to see Schwarzenegger in his prime, considering the last movie I watched with him was was it Last Man Standing?
The Last Stand.
Oh, The Last Stand. There you go.
Is that the one with Johnny Knoxville?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually I like that movie, but
It wasn't bad, but just seeing Schwarzenegger old like that was just kind of disheartening.
I don't know. I seen him in the Expendables 1, 2, and the third one's coming out and whatever. But they gotta get old.
I know I think it's the age I'm at now. I'm in my late 30s, and I see all my heroes from growing up just getting old and feeble and decrepit
And dying.
That makes me sad.
It does. Movie stars are like, I don't want to say this, but I almost want to say they're kind of like family. We've seen them grow throughout our life. You know what I mean? We've seen I could take one of my favorite actors of all time is Bruce Willis. I saw him as nothing in Moonlighting, and now what is he now? He's basically a god of the screen. He can do nothing wrong.
Well, I was watching Ghostbusters 2 with my son last week.
You called that cheesy. I was really kind of surprised.
Cheesy. If you compare it to the first one, it is absolutely cheesy. It's written for kids. It's not written for adults.
My daughter is talking in her sleep.
Oh. But watching that movie with my son, I still couldn't believe that Egon's dead.
Oh, I know. To know Harold Ramis is dead, and
I still can't get over that Egon is gone.
I think it's more it would be more surreal for you now if you pick up the Ghostbusters video game.
Ironically, I did. After that, my son and I both started playing the game together.
That's a great game.
And it was great because, like we've talked about, that is the third Ghostbusters movie.
I think that's also the best licensed movie video game, period.
I'll agree with half that. It's the best, well, yeah, the best movie license, but not the best licensed game.
Okay.
Best license of a movie.
Yeah, licensed movie. All right, whatever. You know what I mean?
I would say for the best licensed, well, no, I'll stick by the best, because I was going to say the Arkham games are the best licensed game, but technically they're not based on any one particular movie. They're based just on a comic.
Isn't the Arkham series? Isn't that a story that was designed for that?
Based on other stories.
Oh, okay.
It's originally written, but it's based on previous stories.
Actually, there's an animated film coming out that's based off the games.
Is there?
Yeah, it's one of DC's and well, now I have to look that up for you because I meant to tell you that.
I know Son of Batman's coming out, which I really want to see that.
I do too, but shit. What's that? The DC animated universe.
Because I would say the Arkham series is the best licensed game ever for I don't even want to call Batman a franchise, but an IP, an intellectual property, is the best. But if you're talking a single IP, single movie license, yes, the Ghostbusters game is the best example of that.
Oh, absolutely. Those are video games based on the.
And when you watch the opening credits and stuff like that, it's nice to see all four of their names on there and written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold. I can't talk. Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis on there, and it's really nice to see that it's canon basically. I mean, it's written by the original writers, it's acted by the original actors, and
yeah, and Alyssa Milano's in it, so.
You got a thing about her, don't you?
I do. I'm not gonna lie.
Every time we bring the game, you always bring up Alyssa Milano.
It's because she's hot.
And pregnant again.
Damn.
And it wasn't.
Where the fuck is this? What was that movie called? Son of Batman?
Yeah, Son of Batman. It's about Damian Wayne.
Hold on. I gotta find the name of this because I wanted to tell you about this, and they're making it. Yeah, they're making a film based in that animated universe. And you know what? DC Universe and animated original movies. Well, why not be more specific, you fucks? Oh, Batman Assault on Arkham.
Oh, okay. When's that coming out?
It doesn't say yet. Oh, mid-2014, so sometime this year. The film will be based on the universe of the Batman Arkham video game franchise. So not only do we probably get a handful of great games, we're going to get a fucking animated film out of this shit.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I still have to play Arkham Origins. I guess I should get around to that.
So good. I still pick it up every once in a while because I'm not satisfied that I'm only 30% through the entire game.
Well, that's like this ludicrous Lego Marvel game that I'm playing. I am 6 stages into it. Hopefully not missing anything along the way. I'm sure I am. And I'm only 6%.
Yep. When I beat Arkham Origins, I was 21. Now, this is finishing the storyline and a few side quests. I was 21% through the game.
Damn.
So technically beating the game, I was 21% through the total game. That's why I'm like, holy shit, this fucker is huge.
Well, they say they're saying this Arkham or what is this last one that's coming out?
Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight is supposed to be 5 times as big as Arkham City.
And I can't imagine that. It blows my mind.
That's basically Arkham Planet. That's what that is.
Because I mean, Arkham City and Arkham Origins, they're the exact same city. It's slightly different because it's not a prison, so you don't get all the barbed wire and everything else like that. But the basic city structure is exactly the same. So it's the same square mileage, virtual square mileage. I can imagine expanding that to 5 times the size because it's a goddamn huge city.
Well, they say one of the biggest things they'll incorporate into this is the use of the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be their version of fast travel.
Well, they do have fast travel in Origins. You use the Batwing, which is very nice. But you have to unlock the Batwing access points, and before you do that, you're going to do a lot of flying through the city.
Oh, well.
And the one thing, too, is once you beat the game, the AI on some of the side quests, holy shit.
Motherfucking hard?
Yeah. And there's this one side quest I'm doing, and to get to this building, there are literally no less than 6 snipers around the side buildings.
Oh, I hate that.
If one of them sees you, you're done. You're just done. Yeah. You have to get these snipers that are staged in buildings all around the building you got to go to, and somehow knock them out and get past them. And then beat the guys with another 2 snipers on the actual building you have to get to.
Well, that's like one of the final runs at Arkham City, where the Joker has what's-her-face in the chair out front, and you have to approach this building, and there are snipers everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought, well, I'm just going to go down and punch the Joker. Thinking this would probably be my dead. And then what did I end up doing? Well, whatever the case is, you have to go around and defeat these like 8 or 9 snipers before you can approach the building and get your ass kicked. But that's part of that story. I was actually using the weapon diffuser. Was that device that stopped? But that only works on a few guns before it's discharged.
And if you use it in Origins, it's not bad, but a lot of times the AI is alerted to it. So if you use it once, they're alerted that, hey, the gun doesn't work, and then the other guys around start looking for you.
Oh, see, that sucks.
So they get, the AI just keeps getting smarter, which is good in a sense, but bad when you're trying to complete these goddamn missions. Just everywhere. And the mobs are huge in Origins.
So it's not the usual 1 on 12?
Well, 1 on 12, I would say, is about average. I think I've had as much as 20, 25 guys just keep coming and coming and coming. Like, if you fall down in certain parts on the street, forget it. You got to grapple right back up because you're going to get killed. Although the electro gloves are nice once you get those later on in the game. They kind of even things up a little bit.
Oh, I love me some electric tasers.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely have to pick up that game. Definitely.
I do. You know what? I won't buy it. My brother has it. I'll just borrow it from him. But I'll be seeing him in about 2 months. But
I've actually been thinking about playing. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I was gonna sneeze there. I was actually thinking about playing Arkham Asylum again.
It's a great game.
It is. Sad part is because it was on my original PlayStation 3, I lost all the save data. So I really can't go back and play around with certain spots. So I thought about just replaying it all together. That way I can go back and play different parts again. I remember back then I thought the snipers were a little difficult. You had, 3 of them at a time on towers?
Mm-hmm. You don't have the thing is, it's like what's great about the Arkham games is, at least up in Arkham and Arkham City that I've only played, is that you're continually adding to Batman's previous inventory. Yeah. Everything you had from Arkham Asylum, you walk into Arkham City with.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're adding to it as it goes along. But
I really agree with that. And you get more moves every time. Like,
yeah.
With skills, you get more moves, you get more combos.
The first thing I always upgrade is his bulletproof armor and his regular armor.
Gotta do that.
Yeah.
If you don't.
Yeah. And even then, you're still
wrong.
You're still lucky to survive some fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna say that. My oldest daughter fell asleep watching Minecraft videos.
Not to ruin it for you. My son's done that many times. Not to ruin it for you, but the final battle. Well, no, I'm not going to say. I don't want to ruin it for you.
No, please don't, because I will play it.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to ruin the final battle for you. Once you play it, let me know what you think about it.
Okay, that's fair. So I'm going to grossly segue from Batman to Star Wars by its one connecting character. And that Mark Hamill, along with many others from the original Star Wars trilogy, will be joining the new Star Wars trilogy. It's not the original trilogy. It's not the prequels.
It's the postquels?
Is it the sequel trilogies?
Sequels.
So Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, Peter Mayo, Anthony Daniels, Kenny Baker, and on and on and on it goes. Max von Sydow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, I know we had this whole thing before the show, because you don't see the big deal about this.
I don't!
The big deal for me and a lot of other fans is the fact that Harrison Ford came back. Harrison Ford, even though Star Wars put him on the map, got very resentful about Star Wars. So much, in fact, that he actually requested to be killed off. He wanted Han Solo killed in Return of the Jedi. He thought that Han should be just completely taken out and was disappointed when he wasn't killed. Any kind of celebration, any kind of reunion, any kind of documentary, he has not been a part of. The only documentary that I've ever seen that he's been a part of was back in the late 90s when the Star Wars exhibit was at the Smithsonian. They had a short little film, and it was about 15, 20 minutes long, and Harrison Ford was in it for all of maybe 2 minutes talking about Star Wars. It wasn't long. It wasn't, anything dramatic. But other than that, that's the only thing I've ever seen him actually talk about Star Wars. He came to hate Star Wars later in his career. And the fact that he's coming back to play Han Solo, who according to this is taking a very significant part and a very large part in the new movie, to me is fantastic.
Yeah, it is fantastic. But as much as I guess he hated Star Wars, liked money more.
He's Harrison Ford. He doesn't need any money.
Oh, don't ever say that. Actors, I don't care who they are.
No.
Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. That's what it always is. Every actor in Hollywood, and I don't care who they are like Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. They just want more money.
Yeah.
Some people do it for the role, and I get it. Some people are particular about it. We always are always upset when Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill are voicing the Joker and Batman, but they're very particular about who does anything with that character.
You'll change in Origins.
Well, I know, I understand that.
But out of all the actors, the originals, yes, Kenny Baker needs money. Peter Mayhew definitely needs money. Carrie Fisher needs more money than anybody else. Mark Hamill, I'm sure, is pretty comfortable with his voice acting career. But Harrison Ford, of all those people, he's the one that could probably finance the entire movie. Go, here's a check, make episode 7, and not worry about it.
I don't see the big deal about them being in it. First off, they weren't not going to be in it. I think we all knew that was going to happen.
It was rumor forever, but it's...
what's been rumor for a long time, Trev?
What?
Jesus is coming back.
Oh. Okay. Here's how I look at this, okay?
Oh, Christ.
No.
First off, I'd like to say up front before we go any further,
yes.
I'm not against these movies.
Uh-huh.
I am a geek. I'm going to see them. Okay? But after the foul taste of episode 1, 2, and half of the third movie, I got no hope.
I will tell you why I'm so happy and other people are happy about this, okay? The Star Trek reboot. Did you enjoy it?
Of course, who didn't?
Okay.
It completely changed what you knew.
You knew the second one was coming out, right?
Yes.
What was the rumor for the longest time of who was going to be in that movie?
Khan.
Yes. And yet, everyone held their breath and cheered when he finally says, "My name is Khan." You knew it was probably going to happen. And yet, at that moment when it happened, you kind of went, yes, inside because it was what you wanted.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it. That's a lot of people feel about having the original 3 actors, Luke, Leia, Han, back in it for...
Okay. And this is where I invalidate part of your argument.
Bring it on.
By saying this, okay? So, in the original Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, let's rewind. Let's go way back, shall we? We should go back to when Khan originally came. Which was an episode... I don't know it.
I don't know the number, but the episode title was Space Seed.
Space Seed, okay. Played by the legendary Ricardo Montalban.
Mm-hmm.
In the film, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, he was played by Ricardo Montalban.
Mm-hmm.
So in the reboot of the thing, he was not played by Ricardo Montalban. And that's
Ricardo Montalban was dead when that was filmed.
Whatever the case. All right, then you don't do the character. But here's the thing. You know what? Harrison Ford and all these other, well, let me just say, all right, everybody, all these other basically well, never mind. I can't even call them losers. Some of them are. Some of them aren't. Uh,
Okay, I'm going to invalidate your argument right now. You're saying that only Ricardo Montalban could play Khan.
I think Ricardo Montalban created how Khan was.
Okay, exactly.
Now, let me just say that Benedict
Ford created how Han Solo was. So we're not talking about someone else playing Han Solo. We're talking about the original actor.
No, I was just invalidating your Star Trek argument. That's all I was doing there. It had nothing to do with the Star Wars argument. Ricardo Montalban basically created, I want to say he created the character of Khan, but how he was played. Benedict Cumberbatch or whatever, Cumberbuck or whatever the fuck his last name is, I can never pronounce right. Okay, he didn't play him exactly the same.
No.
Khan in himself was kind of flamboyant and full of himself, but had the muster to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
Khan in the new one was just an asshole who just wanted to protect his people, which is the core of the character anyway. But we'll get beyond. We'll get away from that.
So I'm not understanding your argument.
I just don't think that Benedict Cumberbatch. We're just going to call him Sherlock because I fucking hate his name.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch. Is that what it is? Cumberbatch. Is that what it is? Benedict Cumberbatch. He played the core of the character correctly. What the purpose of the character was. He just wanted to protect his people, and for the most part, he did that. He really didn't have to act all that much. Let's be real. But he didn't play the character the same. I don't care if you don't understand the argument or the way that goes. Mm-hmm. He didn't play like Khan. Like Khan, maybe you can follow. Maybe you can't. I don't know. But Khan always, the Ricardo Montalban Khan played it as he knew he was better than you.
Mm-hmm.
As where the Sherlock one, I'm not saying it wrong again, kind of hid the fact for a while that he was better than you.
No. He didn't, because he kicked ass on Kronos and took out all the Klingons basically on himself.
Yeah, but they didn't know why he was like that. We're just going to be under the assumption he's good with a gun.
You can't.
My argument's not wrong.
About that.
My argument's not wrong. But we go back. All right, let's get away from that because that's like a whole show.
So your basic argument is because Ricardo Montalban played the character originally, then reprised it again, he played the same exact character that Benedict Cumberbatch could never play that character like Ricardo Montalban.
Exactly. Thank you.
So, if Ricardo Montalban played in the original series, came back, played in the second movie, if they made a seventh original series movie, and he was still alive, and he came back as Khan for the third and last time, would that be okay?
Well, yeah, because it's Khan.
So Han Solo coming back, he was formed by the
First
same...
off, I already said to you at the beginning of this argument that I'm not invalidating Harrison Ford.
I know. I'm saying the characters. You don't see the big deal about them coming back.
I don't see why people actually care. And I will tell you why. Is because the horrible stain of the prequel trilogy should already turn you away from loving this film before it's even filmed.
I will agree with you there, but this isn't based off the prequels. This is based off the Holy Trilogy.
Well, I understand that, but really we cannot... There's no recovery, Trev. You know that's not true.
Okay, you swallowed the bitter pill that was the trilogy, the original prequels.
Gulp.
1, 2, and 3, horrible. So what do people say? That doesn't exist. Okay, the only trilogy is the original trilogy, New Hope, Empire, Jedi. So what they're doing is they're setting the seventh one 30 years after and saying, you know what? We're going to ignore the prequels. We're going to take your Holy Trilogy and extend it by giving you back C-3PO, R2-D2, Chewbacca, Han Solo, Leia, and Luke Skywalker. We're going to bring those back, original actors, so you get that bad taste out of your mouth that is the prequels, and we're going to continue the story from Jedi, your original last film of the Holy Trilogy.
There's no saving it, man. I don't care what you say.
There
is no saving it.
No.
There is no saving it.
I'm going to talk...
Star Wars
I'm going to
I'm going to say this. You know what Star Wars really needs?
2015, and I'm going to prove you right.
You're going to prove me right or wrong?
No, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to prove myself right, because December 18th, 2015, I will be there to watch episode 7, and then I expect you to come on here and go, you know what? I was wrong. The movie kicks ass.
All right. Let's stop here.
No.
I first off did not say I wouldn't see it.
I'm not saying.
I did not say that.
You're saying.
I'm saying that I don't understand why people are so hyped up for these 5 or 6 actors that are coming back.
Because we had horrible the prequels that you said cannot.
Do you honestly believe in your head that these films will have a ton to do with these now Stone Age actors? I'm not burning them. They're really great and they were on their time. These films are good. These are fucking overpaid cameos waiting to happen.
They said Han Solo.
Bullshit.
Wait.
I call bullshit on this.
Han Solo is said to have a gigantic role in Episode 7.
This is bullshit. There will be no more than cameos. No way are they going to have a significant role.
I can't wait to prove you wrong.
I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But I just call it like I see it. These are going to be a significant role. How much of a 2-hour film is a significant role?
It's not a matter of screen time. It's a matter of content.
So Harrison Ford could have a significant role if he's in the movie 3 minutes?
No.
Well, that's what you just said.
No. Okay, if he's in the movie, okay, perfect example. This is the example I'm going to use right now. Jar Jar Binks in Episode 1 was in a significant portion of the movie, yet he meant nothing to it.
Okay, I don't disagree with that. You're right. He was a worthless character.
How big, if he's going to be in there for 3 minutes? It doesn't matter. 3 minutes is not going to be anything gigantic, according to this quote. Gigantic means he's going to be in it for probably a good portion, and it's going to be very story-driven by his character. Something's going to happen. Probably, maybe they might bring in his kids, Jason and Gianna, in the expanded universe he has with Leia. I don't know. All I'm saying is having these characters come back, the original actors, for Episode 7, that is a big I'm sorry about the prequels. This is giving fans what they want. Kind of like The Avengers. The Avengers, it was a film that made little to no sense, but it brought all these characters together as complete fan service.
Oh, that movie's awesome. I must totally admit The Avengers is awesome.
I'm not saying it's not awesome. The storyline is so weak. It's not.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's basically, here's a big problem. Let's take these franchises quick and put them all together. And realistically, the Avengers isn't Marvel's strongest superhero team.
No.
Okay? At least in terms of sales and things like that. But you know what? They really can't get Spider-Man involved in anything, who, mind you, was an Avenger. Wolverine, who, mind you, was an Avenger. A couple of the Fantastic Four members were Avengers. I don't really need to go on. I need Dave Mislevitz's reference right here. I need the Dave Mislevitz's reference right here. But a lot of those characters were, these characters, yeah, exactly, that's what I need.
This one was here, then you go to, then in the alternate universe he was here.
I'm sorry, but you know what? In this day and age now, the first thing you think of when you think of of Marvel is the Avengers.
Yeah.
But 10 years ago, the first thing you thought of was
Spider-Man.
X-Men.
That too.
It's my opinion, I guess. Spider-Man, X-Men, the Fantastic Four. They're a lot of their staples franchises. Iron Man and Captain America are secondary characters in the Marvel universe. Let's give them front-up screen time. And don't get me wrong, nobody else is going to be able to play Tony Stark ever again.
No. Robert
Robert Downey Jr. hangs up the Iron Man armor, they'll never be able to put anybody in his place. Because Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
Really
it's just him playing himself. Minus the genius level intellect.
Now, here's a good question since we're talking about Marvel and the Avengers. They have pretty much confirmed, well, they actually have confirmed, they just haven't confirmed a date of a Justice League movie that's going to follow Batman versus Superman. They're automatically setting it up with a lot of the Justice League characters in that movie.
That's foolish.
What do you think the chances of we got an Avengers movie that was kick-ass. What do you think the chances of finally getting a Justice League movie?
Okay, here's my problem with it first. Okay, the Avengers was set up in phases. We've talked about this before.
Yes.
You know, we had Iron Man, we had Captain America, we had Hulk, we had Thor, we had, and everywhere in there we introduced Nick Fury and Black Widow, and somehow they got Hawkeye into this, and he only had a 3-minute fucking cameo in Thor. That's all he was in, and then all of a sudden he's a full-fledged character who's basically a zombie for half the film. They had time. They took years to introduce you to these characters of this universe. We had, Christian Bale's Batman, which was good, and who's not playing him. And then we had that Green Lantern film, which sucked. I know I just said that, and I'm a big Green Lantern fan, but it's not a great film.
I mean, I'm a DC fanboy, and I'll be the first to admit DC superhero movies good DC superhero movies are few and far between.
You're right.
Just finding DC superhero movies themselves is few and far between because they've only.
How they really should do the Justice League film? Animated.
No way.
DC does animated films correctly.
But you're never going to see an animated DC Justice League movie in theaters. You're just not going to see it.
Anyway, so we'll go back to the phases of Marvel, and they took time to set it up, and what, DC hasn't done this.
No.
We had Batman. Batman's kind of still in our head a little bit because The Dark Knight Rises sucked.
Yeah.
And
Batman movie with Batman in it for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's really sad. I'd hate to say it, but the 22 minutes he was in it was good. That's probably the only good parts.
It basically was a Bane movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that.
Yeah,
that's kind of weak. So when we know of these other characters, what they should have done is we could have done the Green Lantern film, and if that had actually done good, or had not at least CG'd the mask onto his face. Just saying, that was probably not a good idea. And then we could have introduced. Somehow we're going to have to get over the sharp bite of Ben Affleck being Batman. I know that hurts you.
Well, no, I'm okay with that now. Where am I going with this? DC, if they had stopped with Batman Returns back in the early 90s and then gone on to do a Wonder Woman movie, a decent Green Lantern movie, and they started building up like they did with the Avengers, I would say the Justice League would probably eventually have gotten made. What I'm curious about is it going to be a good movie by negating all that and just throwing everything at
you? You want to know if this film is going to be good, assuming we know who they are.
Assuming
you know who the Justice League is when you walk into the theater, you have an idea of who they are.
Yes, we're not building up. It is DC's thought process is we're going to throw everybody at you. You may not know who Cyborg is, but you're going to learn in this movie really quick. You may not know who Hawkeye is, but you're going to or Hawkman and not know. I mean,
I'm going to let that slide.
Well,
I would have definitely deleted 2 geek points.
Yeah, I know. You don't know who these characters are coming into the movie, but we're going to quickly introduce them to you and then form the Justice League.
I think what they ought to do is this. What they ought to do is assume the public knows.
Mm-hmm. And,
after Batman versus Superman, which is ludicrous in its own right, you could shake your head because it kind of is.
Well, there's been a couple comic book series called, Batman, Superman, and.
Well, sure, there has been. You know what I mean? And there's been a few animated films, too.
Yeah.
And they're all good. By the way, they're always good
But
when you team them up.
but the fact that, well, you may call it Batman Superman or Batman versus Superman, but the fact they're having Wonder Woman, they cast Cyborg already. It's a build up to Zack Snyder's Justice League movie. If anything, this is a Justice League movie prequel, if you want to put it that way.
It is. And they should have done a standalone Wonder Woman film a long time ago.
They've tried for the last 15 years.
Why it never gets off the ground, I'll never understand. She's the most sellable character, or one of the most sellable characters they have.
I'll give you 2 words: Batman Begins. Up until that movie, they had not made a good superhero movie since Batman Returns. That was like the top they went, and then they made, Batman and Robin, Batman Forever. They made all those horrible Schumacher films, and then DC was silent for many, many years.
Mm.
And it wasn't until the Nolan trilogy came back that, okay, DC's now making better caliber superhero films. Well,
But that's all you had to go on was the Nolan films.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, they're of great caliber. But and then they followed up with the Green Lantern film that wasn't all that great.
Yeah, I don't understand that one.
Okay, so Ryan Reynolds is a credible actor. I'm going to stand by that. Yeah, he's a credible actor. And we're going to put him in a film because he's A, a recognizable face, and B, all right, so he kind of looks like Hal Jordan a little bit, maybe. Okay, so we'll let that slide. Okay, but then you do all this weird shit with it. Like Parallax, punched into the sun. Really? One Green Lantern defeated Parallax? No. Although Hal Jordan really did. No. And you do all of this other goofy shit, and like I said, the jokingly about the CG mask, and and they leave a cliffhanger ending. Really? It's probably a trilogy.
Never happened, my friend.
No. At that point, if the Green Lantern movie had done well, that should have segued right to the Wonder Woman film, or Flash, which I could have tolerated because I would really like to see him get some real shit. Flash is a great character. And then, then the other ones. Meanwhile, then you build up to the Justice League film. It's basically it's the Avengers Assemble formula. It really is. That's what you could call it.
I mean, basically right now, the best way for any DC fan to get what they want, like fan service, is to watch Arrow.
You're right. I've never seen it, but I've been told that's the way to do it.
I've seen halfway through the first season, then I just got away from it, but it was really good.
That's like I got through half of the second season of House of Cards, and I had to stop.
Oh.
I know. I will get back to it, and I promise I will. But I had to get a break. I absorbed too much.
But I feel like the Batman trilogy, the Nolan trilogy, is going to carrying, I should say, this DC wave, starting with Man of Steel, just like Iron Man's carrying the entire Marvel universe.
You're right, but what they should be doing now is, we got Iron Man, and then what came after that?
Well, first, technically, I think
Incredible Hulk was first.
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk. Then you had Iron Man. Then you had Thor. Then
Captain America.
No,
Captain America. You know what? I'm just
Iron Man. Then Incredible Hulk. Because at the end of the Incredible Hulk, Tony Stark comes at the end to the bar.
Hold on.
Thor, Captain America. No, yeah. Then you had Thor, Captain America 2.
Film.
No.
Oh, hold on.
Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, because at the end of Iron Man 2,
hold on. And then the Wikipedia, see also, list of films featuring powered exoskeletons. I cannot believe that's a section. I'm clicking on that. I want to know what else there is. Oh, Avatar, Batman and Robin, G.I. Joe, RoboCop.
Okay, I got the order in my head. So you're going to go Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, Avengers, Iron Man 3, then Thor 2, Captain America 2.
And then there's another film going to happen before Avengers 2. That hopefully, dear God, it's not a...
You're talking about the rumored Black Widow film?
They should do that.
I don't think she could hold a film on her own.
I don't think... I don't know.
I don't think she could pull it off.
If you see her in The Winter Soldier, which you haven't seen yet, she's the way they wrote her that, she's decently a deep character. I didn't think that, Samuel L. Jackson could act actually as Nick Fury. He just had cameos. I'm not wrong.
No.
He just had cameos. In this one, he's actually, has to act. And
I have to watch that this week.
You do. I'm telling you, you have to see that. I said it earlier before the show. That is the best Marvel film outside of the Avengers.
Is it the best written, or if it's just it's good?
It's written well.
Okay.
It has some of the best action sequences of any of the series. It's well done. And although it has probably the easiest to figure out bad guy in any of the Marvel films, but that doesn't make the whole situation terrible. It doesn't make the film bad because you know that. Because as soon as you see him, you're gonna go, "Oh yeah, villain." Yeah. I said that to Kelly when we watched it. We were not that long into it, and I just go, "Villain." Yeah, you have to watch that. That movie's fantastic. So, all right. So we argued what out? Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, the fact that the Star Wars sequels are gonna suck. Yeah.
You're gonna eat those words.
I hope I do, Trev.
You're gonna eat.
I like to be wrong, in the world where I'm always right.
You are gonna be wrong, my little friend.
Okay, so well, we don't even really need to cover that, but.
So did you finally see if my list was right? My order list?
No, you know what? I stopped looking it up when you said it because I just assumed you were right.
I think I'm right. So we got one last thing if you want to talk about it, since you're the one that brought this.
Now I have to look it up that you meant it. Phase 1.
Oh.
Hold on. I'll get it now. Fucker, you.
Jesus Christ. I thought you were looking at it the whole entire time.
Okay, so the order. Hey, no, I don't want to talk to you. Okay, the order is Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, The Avengers, Iron Man 3, Thor, Captain America.
Exactly what I said.
You're right on with that.
Yes. Decent boy gets it right.
For now.
For now.
See, what's missing from any of these Marvel films, and I think as a comic book fan, I hate it because you know how certain studios own certain film rights? Don't you think one time, let's go with The Avengers. This is the perfect example. Don't you think with that giant attack in New York, the Fantastic Four would not have shown up to give a hand? Or the X-Men, but all of which are stationed in New York City?
Or Spider-Man.
Or Spider-Man, who is the city's hero? How much more do I have to go on? Where are they? I don't want to take something from... The guy from CinemaSins has opened up my mind to things like that. And I thank you for that, because it's a really great show.
It is.
It is. But it's like, and when you're watching about the single films, Tony's in Iron Man 3, which is arguably better than the second one.
I still haven't seen that.
God almighty, man.
I know.
But you're watching Ghostbusters 2?
Don't diss the Ghostbusters, man.
You said it was cheesy.
It was, but it's still a Ghostbusters film.
NES Advantage. All I gotta say. All I gotta say.
Exactly, it's cheesy. See, now you're on my cheesy boat right now.
I'm on it with you. It is cheesy. It's still a good film. It is still going to be.
I'm
Has
not.
some of the more memorable one-liners from the films, from the both films.
I'm not saying it's not a good film. I'm saying it's very cheesy.
Yeah. Neither of them have really stood the test of technological time.
No.
No. But I'm thankful they haven't gone bad and make an HD upgrade, like, or something. Like they did with the Star Wars.
Remastered.
Yeah, Ghostbusters remastered. Yeah. So let's see. So the last story we have it's basically just a minor one, I guess. it stems from Trev's complete love of House of Cards.
Oh yes.
Because he was a sicko about it, and Frank Underwood, of course, the great character from that, played by Kevin Spacey, was very prominent in the trailer for the next Call of Duty game called Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which is basically Call of Duty, the Halo edition, if you watch this trailer, because they have like mech suits and shit.
Yeah.
I understand it being Advanced Future Warfare, so it's obviously not set, last week, but. But he's really, at first I thought he was playing Frank Underwood.
I thought so too until I didn't hear the accent.
But I'd like to know what character, and the Call of Duty franchise is pretty known for its having celebrity cameos in it and things like that, but never a very prominent star being in the trailer.
It gets you hooked though. It makes you pay attention.
It does. I don't even care if he's not in the game at this point. I want it.
Well, he's probably going to be. He's appearing as the game's main antagonist, commanding a private military corporation that has gone rogue. That's who he's playing.
Spacey speaks to the camera in extreme close-up and says, "Power determines who is right. I have the power, so I'm right."
Awesome.
It is. That's an awesome line. It really is.
Did this make you wish it wasn't a game? Like if they made like Call of Duty the movie that's all CG, like something like this.
So you could tolerate watching that?
Pretty much, yeah. Because
that's about the only Call of Duty I think outside in my circle of friends you could tolerate.
One of these days, I'm going to give you your Call of Duty back so I can get my Assassin's Creed back.
Yeah, someday. Right after you beat it.
Yeah, that's called never.
Anyway, so I really hope that he actually, this stays true. And really, one of these first articles I read, and what's terrible about those trailers, it says this was filmed on an Xbox One. I was nervous at that point. I'm like, no, please don't be an exclusive. No. And then I read it. I went to the Wikipedia page quick to look it up. And funny enough, I had to go through Kevin Spacey's to find it. But and it said being released for Xbox 360 and Xbox One, and I was like, no. But then I read on a couple other sites. Yes, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I did that. When I read that on my phone, I'm like, no. I'm not buying it for one game. I'll be like 2 because of Halo 3, or Halo, whatever it is. So I really, really have, Call of Duty Ghosts was really good, so I'm really hoping this will be.
Did you beat it already?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. That was a sickness. Oh yeah. It really had a lot of. It had a lot, like I said when I said last time we had a show. It did have a lot of really personal moments.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it did have a lot of cool technology too. You're taking over tanks and oh man, it was just had a lot of neat shit.
Cool.
And imagine that warfare, in as modern as it's becoming, is something like you see these games. Like, obviously this advanced modern warfare or whatever it is, advanced warfare. Well, nothing like reality, I assume. But I can see the stuff in Ghosts being real. Like, you had drone sniper rifles. You set up ahead of time and then position yourself somewhere else and start picking guys off. And you had it's in Call of Duty's famous for you actually have control of drones many times during the games. And, to bring in a quick air, bombing or whatever you need. And even in Black Ops, the one that you have that that you borrowed from me. I mean, you could even call, Vietnam-style airstrikes in and take control of it for a little while.
Hmm.
Drop a napalm or whatever else. It's, yeah. I mean, when it comes to the accuracy of certain things, they got it right. I'm sure there's a lot of licenses and liberties taken too, but excuse me. All my children are asleep. The dog, the children.
Yes, my son finally fell asleep. I haven't heard him for like the last 20 minutes.
I'm assuming your wife is.
Yeah, as soon as we came home, she was out.
Yeah, that happens.
That's the pregnancy. She's just does nothing but like complain about how sick she is and sleeps.
Yeah. You guys are the successful third pregnant couple I know, so.
Oh, everyone I know is like having babies this year.
You know what? Yeah. It was a bad winter.
I was gonna say, it's a long winter when everyone's having babies.
Yeah, Thank God that crap's over for me, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I could not do an infant again. I don't think I could do it.
You could?
I'm sure I could, let me say this. If you asked me to watch your soon-to-be-born child or whatever that is, whatever you're having, or I don't know if you're finding out. So,
we're gonna find out. I'm hoping it's human though.
Well, yeah, one would hope.
Yeah.
10 fingers, 11 toes.
It would be cool.
That would be.
Yeah.
Never to waste any money on swimming trips. Anyway. And if you ask me to watch the baby for whatever strange circumstances, I know I still have the skills to be able to change babies and all that. I got that. But I don't want to have to do it. On a regular basis.
Well, it's funny. I look at a lot of people on Facebook that we went to school with, and they're the ones that had the baby, either in high school or right at graduation, that they're all going to the prom now. They're graduating next year. And here I am, same age. Their kids are going off to college, and I'm having a newborn.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you know what? There's no judgment in when you have your children.
No, I just find it funny. Well, then again, there's Jason. I mean, his son's going away to college. His daughter, I think, is going to be a junior in high school. He's got a 5-year-old, and they have a new one on the way.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a age gap there.
Well,
but he had
it's not like, you know what? It's really nothing. There is no way to dial in that correctly. You know what I mean?
He basically had 2 different generations.
Yeah, he did. Which would be cool in the grandkids range. I guess.
So what do you say? Is it about that time?
Yeah, I think we've rambled on incoherently for long enough.
Sounds like it's time for Picks of the Week.
So,
what do you got, sir?
I'm just going to use what I've actually mentioned about 900 times, and this is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Holy shit, is this movie awesome. If you get a chance to see it, I'm not going to say anything about it. I will not give one teaser or spoiler away because the film's still in theaters, but it is well, in my opinion, I should just say it that way. It's the best Marvel film outside of the Avengers. It really is. Chris Evans really took the role from the first one, which he was kind of hokey. Captain America, he is a general, hokey character, and he really just kind of modernized it, where it's still hokey, but he's learning to deal with, the age of the internet. In fact, that's jokingly referenced in it too. But a lot of things in the film, and I can actually say this because it doesn't ruin anything. A lot of things in the film was him trying. People are always telling him things that he's missed, like music and movies and things like that will help him kind of catch up, and that's one of the the reference things in the film. But pretty neat stuff. Definitely worth seeing. I've seen it twice now, so.
Maybe I'll set aside some time on Sunday and sit down and watch it.
Yeah, there you go.
Sunday.
Of course, you'll go to the theater and see it like I did.
Absolutely. Bring my own popcorn.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my pick of the week it's actually an odd one for me. This winter, I don't know if you realize, in the Northeast has been long and unforgiving.
Sons of bitches.
Cold as hell that I've been pretty much a lazy bastard the entire winter, just kind of sitting around the house with my son. And because of that, I packed on a few pounds, like we all typically do. So I'm trying to get my butt into gear. I use an app I know you started using, Jerry, called Runkeeper for the
Oh,
I
I love that app. Yes.
found another app. It's actually made by the same people that make Runkeeper. It's called Breeze. And what it does, it's basically a pedometer. Automatically runs in the background on your phone. You set daily goals, and then on that goal, it sets goals for you to keep increasing. And you get alerts throughout the day. You know, you're 20%, you're 50%, you're almost there. You can track your daily steps, and it's it's one of those things that you don't think about. You don't think about how many steps you take. You with Runkeeper, I'm thinking of time in miles. Where this, if I'm looking for 4,500 steps, I want to know how far I am because that's going to make me want to go for a walk. That's going to make me want to move more. That it gives you the motivation to try to actually get your fat ass off the couch and do something and walk somewhere. And even if it's up and down the steps doing laundry, just do something. And I love the fact that it's always on in the background, so you don't have to, like Runkeeper, you don't have to launch the app, start it there. It's always running. It ends during the day at midnight. It starts at 12:01 for the next day, and it tracks you completely.
What's that called again?
Breeze, Breeze.
I should use that at work because I do walk a lot at work.
Yeah, I found it to be fantastic. When we went down our farm, we were planting 100 trees. We took a walk around the place. I think I did something like 6,000 steps that day, and it was absolutely fantastic. Every day I try to do anywhere between 3,000 and 4,000 steps. And that's usually a pretty good day. And you don't realize how many steps you take until you start tracking it. It's amazing. Just how different activities are more intense than others just by walking. It's pretty cool. But that's my pick.
I also like food.
Food. That's my problem too. Yeah. It's like after this cast, I'm gonna want to sit down and have a big bowl of cereal, but my this side of the brain is saying no, no. This side of the brain is going, just pour the milk into the box and eat it.
I love that.
Oh. So it's a constant battle. Damn it. I think that's it, sir.
It is.
It is late, and we should get going. So, Jerry, want to thank you again for joining me on this wild ride called Growing Up Geek.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And you know what, kids? We'll see you next week.